Let's bring in Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Morning, Karl. You know the Georgia Bulldogs.
Morning.
Listen, Democratic strategist to Fox News Digital, a warning to the Harris polling and the media silence says this: if the polling errors are anywhere close to what they were in 2016 and 2020, then Trump is in the lead right now. The idea that Harris doesn't have to specify policy or go before the news media is a strategy born of conceit and foolhardiness and will ultimately backfire. Julian Epstein, what do you make of that?
Well, I think they're absolutely right. She needs to be more specific. Let's not be critical of her by saying she has to have a Democrat Congress and a Democrat Senate in order to get these things done, because the same can be said for Donald Trump. He has to have a Republican Senate and a Republican House to get everything done. But people want to know where you're coming from, and they want to know enough about the specifics to get their hands around it. But the other point about polling, if possible, let's talk about that a little bit, because I think let's put this in perspective. On this day in 2020, Joe Biden was up 7.1% above Donald Trump in the Real Clear Politics average. And at this point in 2016, Hillary Clinton was up 6.3. And as you remember, the election came down to a handful of votes in a handful of states. And today, in the Real Clear Politics average, Harris is up over Trump by 1.5 in the RCP average and 3.5 in the 538.com. So this, she's ahead in both averages, but she's nowhere near ahead by the numbers that both Biden and Clinton were. And as we know, Clinton lost and Biden won by 42,000 votes in 3 states. To complicate it further, these are national numbers we're talking about, and we've got a number of polls, 8 to 10 polls that make up these averages. But how is she doing and how is he doing in the battleground states, the 6 or 7 battleground states? We have nowhere near. We have a few polls in several states, but we certainly don't have 6 or 7 or 8 polls that would give us an average and therefore give us a better idea of where they actually are.
So the other thing we don't have is an interview or a press conference, although I have a theory. I believe that the interview is probably already done and that it will be shown this weekend. And I think that this nonsense that her team is asking the reporters on the plane who she should do an interview with, I think it's all a head fake by them, and that we're going to see that this weekend. But, wow. Karl, I also think that she wants people to just believe that anything they want to about her, because without having to be pinned down, it doesn't matter. Watch Tom Cotton with Jonathan Karl. Just one more time, everybody. Watch this and see all the different issues that come up.
President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans.
That is not her position now.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Okay. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that.
I think it's fair, Karl, that if she hasn't explained them herself, that you just have to believe what she said before is the actual position. What do you think?
Yeah, well, she has to, if these really are new positions, she has to come out and explain them. Now, look, to me, this is interesting. I think she's interested. Her campaign wants to have the conversation be about this, because it does allow the dominant media to come in and say, well, she no longer holds those opinions, thereby sort of getting that information out. But also, we're talking about something that is not central to the campaign. At the end of the day, she's going to have to say where she is. And in a debate, she knows she's going to get hit by Donald Trump over, you said you were for Medicare for all and the abolition of private health insurance. And she'll say, my mind has changed. And if she has a good explanation as to why her mind has changed, I think the American people might say, well, you know what? I want politicians who are not stuck in a hard position. I think this may be deliberate on her part to chew up time. She wants to make the clock her friend. And to the degree that we're not talking about inflation or illegal immigration or the state of the economy or America's position in the world, if we're talking about the side issue of when is she going to have an interview and has she changed her mind on some of these issues, that's to her advantage.
Karl, thank you. I know when you have 2 different colored markers on the whiteboard, it is very important. So this was a big day. Thank you very much.
I could have gone for a third one. I could have gone for a third one.
Next week, you bring it back.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.